Lift off in 3, 2, 1.
Hi there. Welcome to the Body Mind Index. I'm your host, Jerry Pujols, and I am with my beautiful wife, Susan. Beautiful wife, Susan. I wanted to say beautiful bride.
And it went bride.
Bride. That's basically what happened there.
And a special guest, Windsor.
My favorite part is when you laugh, so I love that. So, anyways, so we're together. You're here for the first time and doing a Body Mind Index recording with me. So thank you for doing this. I know it's not easy today, especially with my behavior. So I'll explain my behavior. My behavior is coming from lower back pain, possibly caused by some trail running, excessive speed down the mountains.
A burnout, almost a wipeout.
Almost a wipeout down a ravine. Just a lot of childlike behavior that I've been enjoying, and there's a cause and effect to everything, right?
There is.
So, I just thought maybe for this week we talk about recovery, living with a person undergoing recovery, and sometimes pushing too hard because I think I'm immediate gratification, right?
I think it's you don't tip your toe in the water, you just dive right in.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I've learned recently that there are two kinds of people. There are the people that tip their toe in the water. They want to do all the homework. They want to do everything. And then there are those that go all in. And it seems like it's a 50-50 thing. You know, it's either one or the other. I don't know that it's really a combination of both. And yeah, I'm definitely the kind that wants to just get started. And one thing that's been helpful a little bit has been the zones and running between zone 1 and zone 5 and to build endurance running at zone 1 and 2, trying to keep the speed slow has been helpful in building endurance, but I don't think that accounts for throwing yourself down a rocky trail.
No.
And possibly with the wrong shoes. With friends that are in better shape and things like that. So that's been part of the learning curve, and right now what I'm focused on is how to cope with it, because I'm trying. I know you're suggesting that I continue to take
the combo of Tylenol, ibuprofen, because that helps a lot with back pain. But if you're not consistent with it while you have some inflammation going on, it's not really that helpful. But if you stay regimented with it and maybe do it for a week or two until the inflammation disappears, it probably could help. Yeah.
My fear with the back pains is that suppressing back pain, the pain, I see the pain there as something to tell you something is off, right? And so what happens when you suppress the pain and now you don't feel the pain? Do I feel like maybe running again, or maybe too prematurely going back on a trail and possibly maybe hurt myself more because that sensation is being dulled by the painkiller? So,
well, I think that it's not that kind of a painkiller. I feel that kind of a combo is really more of it's a lot more subtle than a painkiller. I think what it does is it just dulls it a little bit, but I think it's up to you as the individual to back off some of your harder workouts, especially the things that are like bouncing that maybe could be causing your back pain. And so I think it's a combination of doing both is, tip your toe in the water for the next week to 10 days and maybe have some Tylenol, ibuprofen, and see how that makes you feel.
Well, I always turn to you for anything to do with medicines because you've studied that and you have experience with it. But I still am apprehensive at dulling or numbing things. But it did help when I started taking it. It did dull the pain. I've tried a CBD cream that a friend of mine made for me, but it didn't do anything to round out the edges of the pain. So right now, outside of going back on the, what was it that you had me, Advil? Advil is what you had me taking,
Yeah.
Advil with Tylenol in it.
Yeah, it's ibuprofen and Tylenol combo. Yeah.
So, I might consider going back to a chiropractor. Might consider acupuncture. That's never worked for me before. Chiropractor really hasn't worked for me before, but I've also talked to people who have been to a chiropractor and have had success with that. So I don't want to just think that every situation is the same. So I'm trying to work through it. And at the same time, I'm trying to stay mobile. I'm trying to get the walks in, maybe a little bit of time in the pool, maybe a little bit of time in a hot tub. And I'm going more with heat than with, what do you call it, than with icing. What I've also recently learned is that icing is what athletes do or their physical therapist will use on an athlete to get them right back into the game, because it quelches the inflammation, but the inflammation around a joint or around an area is what you want, because the inflammation is there to help you protect that area. So the heat keeps the area from just getting I don't know what the word that I'm looking for is, like constricted. You want the inflammation to go down so you can get back in the game.
Sure.
In this case, you want the area to stay nice and loose so you can continue to heal. And under heat, apparently an area will heal. But I'm also impatient about how long it takes to recover. That's the other thing. So I'm just trying to work through that. And also my mood.
We don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. That's what frustrates me the most, is that the nice guy that comes out when there's that kind of pain, it's awful. So I'll apologize for that now and keep apologizing all the way through it, because it
not feeling good.
Sucks.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to kind of put this out there, because in any kind of physical endeavor, such as weight loss, focusing on one's health and things like that, there's always going to be a setback. I'm literally just in the middle of one right now, so it's what it is.
Right. Yeah. Well, everybody has setbacks, right? I mean, even super athletes have setbacks. Yeah. So we're human beings, and sometimes we get hurt, or we overtrain, or we have things that physically we can't even control. So yeah, it's a game of patience. You're not good at the game of patience.
Breathing.
Yes. Yeah.
I really need to go back to Kat's class. And then I did Kat's yoga class the other day with breath work, which I thought was awesome. I thought it was going to be perfect for me. But then, instead of just doing it mildly, I decided to really lean in to the poses in that class. And I think, if anything, I really aggravated.
Probably.
I should have probably just gone and done the breath work.
Yeah. With
very little movement or subtle movement, but my ego took over, and I felt like I needed to show people that I could do yoga.
Wow.
And that was not a good idea.
Yeah.
Even though
you were 13.
I thought I was
13, and you were at the ashram, and you were going to show people how it's done.
I thought I was 45. I wasn't even thinking I was 13. I thought I was like 10 years ago.
Wow.
11 years ago, to be precise.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was definitely 56 with a back issue. So yeah, it's just all part of it. But still, one thing that I find that I have going for me right now is the nutrition piece.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still eating really good. As a family, we're eating
Mm-hmm.
really good. But for me, I think the no salt, the things that I eat have sodium in them. Vegetables have sodium already built in. If I were to eat any of the many things that I eat that are SOS free, but still have enough sodium, I still get between 2,000 and 3,000 milligrams of sodium per day, and all we need is a little bit over 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting plenty of sodium there. No added sugar, but we made from Kathy Fisher's book, and Kathy's going to be on the podcast in the next few weeks. And one of Kathy Fisher's recipes, this one wasn't on her book, this one was at the True North Health Center,
Mm-hmm.
where we sat and attended that demonstration of her. She did a brown rice pudding that
Mm-hmm.
was...
It was amazing. I don't even like, what is it called? What do we call it in Spanish?
Arroz con leche.
Yeah, arroz con leche. I don't even care for it, but this one is off the charts. Maybe because it's so healthy. It tastes so good.
Yeah, the sweetener.
Raisins
The sweetener was the raisins and the dates.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah, when you blend dates inside almond milk, it tastes like horchata, but healthy horchata.
Right. Yeah,
that was amazing.
Yeah, it's super yummy.
Yeah.
Well, just be grateful that you're eating the way you're eating, and that you're being healthy. Because can you imagine what your back pain might feel like if you were like eating the way you did, being the weight that you were, and having probably 10 times more inflammation.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
It's just a minor little setback. Just be patient.
Setback.
Be patient.
It's a setback.
Setback.
Setback in the pack. Setback in the back. Yeah, I just want to be London worthy. London is our granddaughter, so I just want to be London worthy because she likes to run.
She does like to play.
She likes to play.
Yeah.
So
Grandpa, put me on your shoulders.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, now would not be the time. Grandpa.
No, this is like go to the shoulder.
No shoulders and no running.
Got to check her weight. She's probably approaching 40 pounds, so
probably
it doesn't seem like anything, but it's something.
She's a noodle, but she's tall.
She's a thin, tall noodle.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for doing this one with me.
Welcome.
Are you still doing okay with the changes I've made over the last year in the house with the nutrition and the SOS and all that?
Yeah, I'm just definitely getting a lot more used to it. And I think, just sometimes my nutrition might not be exactly the same, and it's totally fine because everybody has different things that they might need. Like, I'm not a salt-free person. I don't oversalt my food. And I'm not an oil-free person, but I tend to eat more on the healthier side. I do have a little bit of animal protein just because I feel my body requires it for the protein, because I'm not a bean eater. So it's kind of like sometimes you have to modify a little bit within the same household, but you can still be supportive. I mean, I'm still supportive, I think, with what you're doing and trying to keep, the cupboards more with healthy things. And so.
Yeah, I think what worked for me was owning the grocery shopping and the cooking part, because I think it's really hard. A lot of people, in some cases guys, they tend to find us blaming, like, oh, well, my wife does this, I can never enforce this, or I can never do this, or I can never change my family. And I think at the end of the day, there's only one person you can change. And if your health requires it, then you have to, I think, make the change. And you may have to be the one that goes to the grocery store and shops for the things that you need. And then you have to cook for yourself. And I think you have to sort of become a grown-up about that. Because I don't think it's fair to say to your spouse or significant other, do all this for me so I can then eat this way, and so then I can get healthier.
Right.
You tend to do that too. If you want to eat something, if you want to eat animal protein, then you have no problem grabbing a piece of salmon or some a piece of steak or something and throw it in on the grill, and you're cooking that yourself. And I find that super refreshing, because then then I don't have to smell, and it triggers things, and then I have to deal with that part of my brain. But it's also, I have to say, it's also way easier now than it was at the beginning.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was a struggle. Like I had to do this fasting thing because I had to have a procedure done, exploratory, and I had to do it twice in a row. And when you're fasting for like 3 days at a time, it's interesting how your senses, and honestly, I wasn't even really hungry. It was just like water fasting. But Jerry was cooking sweet potatoes. And when I was fasting, I was like, oh my God, those smell so amazing. And I'm not even really a sweet potato person, but just that sweet, sweet smell was like made my mouth water. And I never like paid attention to stuff like that because my thing is not food in that way. And so it was super interesting. So that day, it kind of made me relate to what you go through with certain like smells. Yeah, it was super interesting.
Yeah, sweet potatoes, those. A shout out to baked sweet potatoes.
Oh my goodness.
They smell like apple pie.
Oh,
right?
Yes, it sure did.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and same for me. At the beginning, it was really hard when you would be eating something and it would trigger this sensation in your mouth, saliva, just everything going on. And I was like, gosh, I need more time to get some of these salts, oils, and sugars out of my system so I can actually be okay with this. And now, it's been like, what are we now? It's been like 9 months since I started on this journey of SOS, no sugar, oil, salt, animal products, no caffeine, no alcohol. And then I know people right away say, well, what else is there?
Well, I can think of one thing.
Why don't shoot yourself and jump off a cliff? I mean, I've heard every joke out there. But the reality of it is, I had this discussion with a chef the other day, a chef that I really admire because he built an amazing restaurant. It's actually a steakhouse, probably best steakhouse in Napa Valley. And the way that I see it now, because I come from a background in the produce industry, and what I told him is what has changed for me is not that I'm limiting something. It's like my world has really opened up, because now I don't just eat the same things over and over and over again. I eat so many more different things.
Right.
And if anybody were to look in our cupboards, and if they were to look what gets eaten, and the various types of pasta, it's like, we eat pasta, we probably eat 12 different types of pastas, maybe more, because then we go into the fresh pastas, the pastas with herbs in them that just taste amazing, that you don't even need to put. There are pastas that you and I eat that don't even need sauce, because the pasta itself, one of them has thyme and lemon, and this really pasta is fresh and it's so delicious. Shelf life is only like 2 or 3 days, so you better eat it fast. But it's as delicate as eating the finest fish or meat out there, because so now I look at the way that we're eating, because you're part of, you eat probably 80% of what we eat, and then you might throw some animal protein on top of your meal. But we eat such a broader amount of food.
It's definitely more colorful. That's for
way
sure.
More colorful.
Yeah, way more colorful. And it's interesting that when you first started this journey, the different like psychological aspects of this, like I used to have an eating disorder when I was younger, and this was a long, long time ago. And my thing has never been.
You were a teenager.
About overeating. Mine was more about, I was super active, really athletic, didn't eat enough calories, and and so and kind of going through my own little therapy route when I was a teen, they're like, okay, you can't limit and tell yourself that you can't eat things. You can eat whatever you want. because it's super important for you to be able to do that. You can't tell yourself you can't have certain things. So when Jerry started this, it was super interesting because it was like I was wondering, why am I struggling so much about like what am I going to eat, or how am I going to eat it? And then that's when this kind of came up. And it's like one of those things where you have to find like a happy medium for, okay, having a healthy household for Jerry to eat properly, but also supplementing, you know, the things that I need so that I don't feel like I'm depriving myself, because that's not a good place for me to go. And so, yeah, mine's different things. You know, it can still be healthy, but mine's different things. Mine's not soil, all, oil and salt free. Mine have sugar, they have some oil, they have some salts. I, have a lot more avocados, a lot more nuts. I do eat animal protein just because I'm just, again, like I said, I'm not a person that eats beans. And so, yeah, my diet is slightly different. And so, but it was interesting, the different struggles that people go through. So I can imagine that when somebody does try to do this in a household, that it is like hard on the other person. And so you have to, yeah, you really have to work at it, and maybe look at things from different perspectives too.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't. That was an interesting thing that by that last trip that we did to the True North Health Center, that was one thing that I really realized was the lack of sensitivity from me to you, because I always thought, well, you don't know what I deal with. You don't
Mm-hmm.
deal with
Mm-hmm.
food addiction or
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, why would you marry a food addict? Are you crazy? What was that? What was that? If you knew you struggled, you didn't know I was a food addict when we met, right?
No, of
I
course
wasn't
not.
even overweight when we met.
Not really.
You probably caused everything.
Oh gosh, it's my fault again.
Not even.
Oh.
Not even, man. No, it's funny that this whole 30-something years of yo-yoing up and down, you have adapted to my many interesting ideas on how to deal and cope with this.
Mm-hmm.
But in that journey, your thing didn't, even though I knew about it, you had shared that with me early on,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't understand. I thought that was cured. I thought in my mind, oh,
Yeah.
that's not a thing that she's ever going to deal with.
Yeah.
She always stays very consistent
Mm-hmm.
with her weight,
Mm-hmm.
and I never would have imagined that what I started doing 9 months ago would trigger
Mm-hmm.
some of those things from when you were a teenager, and
Mm-hmm.
that was interesting and concerning at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
because I saw how much it hurt you. Especially, a few weeks ago when we went out there, and I thought, when I would hear you talking to people, I would think, wow, that was, I didn't take that serious enough. It was, it was a miss on my part. So I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think one thing's that because somebody looks a certain way and because they're lean and they have this amazing figure and always, you just think, oh, they have it all.
Mm-hmm.
They have it all, and I wish I was like them, and I didn't have to worry about what I ate and all, because I've never seen you worry about what you eat. You just eat fairly
Just eat
healthy,
whatever.
and
Yeah.
you just eat whatever. And I always joke about the fact that you're the person that can eat just one.
Yeah.
You know how the commercials
Right.
say
Yeah.
that you cannot eat just one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it's true, because things are designed so you can't eat just one. And you're the one person that can defy that. You can have one Oreo cookie. You can have 1, 2, or 3 ruffled potato
Mm-hmm.
chips and stop. Those things are not designed so you stop. Those things are designed so you keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're really in the minority. But even people who are in the minority still have things that they have to.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they come up at interesting times where you don't think about any of that for like years and years, and then sometimes when something comes up, it's like the lid comes off the box and you're like, oh yeah, that's making me really uncomfortable. Yeah, because it's almost like you've trained yourself to say unconsciously, eat whatever you want. right?
Yeah.
Because you're not overweight, so just eat whatever you want.
Yeah.
And so for years, just eat whatever you want,
Yeah.
right? And then when you're confronted and, it's a shift in what the kitchen looks like, or what the pantry looks like, then you start like struggling the other way of, oh my gosh, well, if things don't taste good or they don't have flavor or this or that, I'm the type of person that, and I'm a visual eater too, that it has to look a certain way too, that I won't eat, right? Because it doesn't bother me that I don't eat,
Yeah.
which is really weird.
You don't love
No.
my motor oil smoothies?
No.
Brown smoothies don't do it.
No.
Are you excited about the new juicer that I just ordered?
Yeah, I am super excited because I love the juice.
It's
But that's colorful.
It's a masticator.
Yes. Yeah.
It presses. It doesn't juice. It just literally squeezes everything out of the pulp.
I like it.
And then I've been watching a couple of things where you can use some of the pulp for like healthy cookies or crackers or things like that.
Nice.
But I'm really curious about having what it's going to be like to have a masticator in the house, and I'm going to try to incorporate at least one juice in the morning, so it just causes kind of a daily reset. And I think that helps everybody's palates to just start with like a veggie juice, not heavy on the fruit and the sugars, and just and start working that into our routine. I know you like juice, so
well, we used to do that all the time. We really got out of the habit of it, but 4 or 5 years ago, we would juice every day, in the morning.
Yeah, I did do that juice fast, and I lost a lot of weight. Remember that time?
Yeah, I remember that.
But that was not sustainable. I mean, you got to have food, and you got to have much more in the way of nutrition, satiation. All those words came until have come to light in the last 9 months, and it's important to satiate and
definitely. Yeah.
Thanks for supporting me.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
How you doing?
Guess you got to help.
No,
you got to help.
I'll keep cooking.
And I do enjoy the cooking. I do I do my own additives, but I do enjoy the cooking.
Yeah, she does her own little.
Yeah.
You sprinkle salt.
I just sprinkle a little salt. I'm not a big salter though. It's just a little shake, and stir it up, right?
Yeah, that's probably. And again, it could be what your body needs. It more than likely is what your body needs. You don't need a lot of calories. So the ones that you eat probably do require.
Gotta count. Yeah.
I eat a lot of food, and even the amount of food that I eat, I pick up a lot of sodium in those foods. So I get over the 2,000. I've measured them. I get over 2,000 milligrams a day. I can see where you might not, with the amount of calories that you take in. You might not reach that. So there's probably a reason why you sprinkle a little bit of
salt on it, or throw a whole avocado on something. Just for extra calories.
Did you see that we received 3 bottles of California?
I saw that.
Balsamic. The balsamic vinegars from California Balsamic. We started with a little bit of a test pack just to try a bunch of them, and out of 6 or 7 that we ordered, we liked 3 a lot. And that 7 herbs, that Italian one, remember we put that on the pasta? That was super good. That was a great pasta
that is a good
topper.
one. Yeah.
The other one is lime jalapeno, and I got a ginger. I got a new one, citrus ginger or something like that I'm looking forward to.
We got to share Jerry's recipe for the pesto sauce that he made.
Our son Jerry.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Jerry Jr. is an amazing cook.
Yeah,
he always has been.
Yeah.
You're a really good cook too.
Much more creative.
He's super creative.
Much more creative.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and it was amazing, and it had no salt, oil, no sugar, and he just whipped it together, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so amazing.
It'd be nice if we knew what the ingredients were, but I think it was obviously basil, some nuts,
parsley. I think it was some pine nuts, some walnuts, because that gives it the oil. Some lemon juice, and there was a few other like seasonings in there, but no salt, no oil, no sugar. Oh my gosh. It was really good.
I think he put in there some of Bragg's no oil dressing in there.
Did he?
He may have, but it was amazing.
Whatever it was so amazing. Good. Oh, and nutritional yeast.
And he put
because it gives it that cheesy flavor.
Yeah,
and it was like, oh my gosh, it was really, really good. I was putting it on everything. avocados, pasta, salad.
Oh.
Yeah, it was super.
Well, you guys, sorry that today was more about the pain in my back than
Oh.
anything else, but I thought we just highlight the humps and the bumps along the way, and because I'm sure you've had yours, none of us are exempt. So thank you so much. If you like, hit us with a subscribe or a like on the channel, and share the story with anybody you think might use some, I guess, something out of it. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.